Hi, I'm Suzanne Charlebois. Welcome to Kicking Arthritis' Butt. Today, we're going to talk about losing weight. That's right, losing weight. I recently just lost 30 pounds and I want to share with you guys how I did that and why I think it's so important. So I started out as a semi-professional athlete. I was a rock climber for many years. I was traveling all over the place. I was in great shape and I was using and abusing my body. And then I had my first child and I had my second child, and then 30 pounds creeped up and the midlife creeped up, and before you knew it I was 150 pounds. So it was about 30 pounds over my normal weight, and I was getting sicker and unhealthy. And it has taken me about almost 7 years to lose that 30 pounds. But here's what happened. I started taking care of me first. So, like many of you know already by now, I had arthritis that was debilitating me. I had to clean up my diet, which helped to get rid of some of the pain. But even though I cleaned up my diet, I still wasn't losing the weight. And I couldn't really figure out why I wasn't losing the weight, because I was eating clean, I was eating healthy, I was eating moderate proportions, but I was still living a fairly toxic lifestyle, an emotionally toxic lifestyle. I had too many burdens in my life. Many of you are probably the same way. Maybe you're caring for other people in your family, or you're in a bad relationship, or your job is bringing in a lot of stress, or your children are young and they demand a lot from you. So as a consequence, you might not be sleeping properly. You might not be eating at regular hours. You might not be taking the time just to take care of yourself, and you might not be limiting yourself in terms of exposure to toxic people and maybe giving away your control. And I know many people who live with chronic pain feel very vulnerable, especially financially. So you might stay in a relationship that might not be good for you for financial reasons, or because you want a security for your children, or whatever those reasons are to you, but you might just find yourself staying connected to people who otherwise are not serving you well. And once you realize that those people are part of the problem, it gets a little bit easier to cleave those relationships. I don't necessarily mean cleave them in a bad way. I just mean make space. Know your boundaries and know your limits. And so that's exactly what I did. I started to really look at my life and some of the stresses that I was creating in my life in those relationships, because I was also playing out my own drama. So I made a commitment to myself to become psychologically solid. I started looking at what was working and what wasn't working, and making space for me. And when I started to do that, I naturally started to have the desire to exercise and eat better and surround myself with happier people and do happier things. And even though I was still having drama as I was going through, let's say, the transition in those relationships, my self-esteem started to come back. I started to ask myself, well, why don't I deserve better? Why shouldn't I expect more? And why can't I do this for myself? And as I started to do that, I started to become more and more empowered. And as I became more and more empowered, I became more energetic and more enthusiastic. And the weight literally has just come off. Of course, I've watched what I've eaten. I have exercised, but I'm also resting. I am resting a lot, because your body needs time to heal, especially if you've been in toxic relationships with people, or if you've been in a toxic living situation for a really long time, or you've just been living a toxic life for a long time. You need time to recuperate and go through withdrawal. And so sometimes you might go through symptoms like withdrawal. Like this morning, I've been actually eliminating caffeine. And I had mentioned to one of my friends I was feeling a little under the weather this morning because I was feeling nauseous, I had a bit of headache, and I realized that it was just part of the caffeine withdrawal. So these are all kind of stepping stones, but once you get through it, once you get to the other side of the detox, you feel great and you never, ever want to go back. So I hope this helps you guys, and I think it is a really big key factor of losing weight. And many of the women I've spoken to on some of the support groups I'm on have said the same thing. When they eliminated the toxic relationship, the weight also came off very quickly. So good luck with that.